Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. So we now are on, I think, video 6 on the series of OCD. And last time we left it as that we started reducing the number of things that we were conditioned to do. Like if we were turning the light switch off and on 10 times, this time we did 5. If we were washing our hands 5 times, this time we did 3. And we decided we reduce these numbers during the day and see what happens. Is it really gonna be disaster if I don't do it 10 times? If I don't go over some tile on the street 5 times, or if I don't go on a certain corner of it, let's see if I avoid that and just go normally, just straight through. See what happens. If I don't come in and think that my clothes have been contaminated since I sat on a bench or on a bus or something, and now I have to change my clothes and put it somewhere and don't let it touch anything. Let's say if I just say, well, let's not do it this time when I come home, I wouldn't be so meticulous about, taking my shoes off, put it on this corner. We're like a quarantine, so it won't touch any other part of the apartment or the house. Let's say I don't do that this time, not so severely, less. Let's see what happens. So we were talking about this in the last video, and now we continue and say, okay, we did that, and then we actually noticed, lo and behold, nothing did happen, nothing bad did happen. So we said, hey, so 10 times washing or 5 times washing, not quarantining my clothes when I come in, and do quarantining makes no difference. I'm still healthy, I'm still the same. So what is it that makes me feel like I have to do it? If I don't do, hell breaks open? It's an idea, it's a thought. Why? Because a thought appeared in my head at some time, and I fell for it, I complied to it, and then I was convinced, and then I thought, well, obviously it has something to do with my well-being, or whatever it is that I want it to be okay. Doing these crazy things is probably causing all those good things happen to me, or not bad things happen to me. And we never say, let me do this and see if something good happens to me. No, we say, let me do this and something bad, let's see if something bad doesn't happen to me. And I'm doing it so something bad wouldn't happen to me. And usually something bad wasn't gonna happen anyhow. But we give the credit to this, whatever crazy things that we do. And this time, by having eliminated all these repetitious things, we realize that it has been an idea in our head. We entertained it, we allowed it to take hold, take roots in our mind, to the point that we were convinced that it is a belief, it's a good thing to do, it brings me tranquility. And we discussed all these order and where mind find its relaxation and a place to be and so on in the other video, so please check that. I don't want to repeat the whole video again. And then to the point that we have been convinced that this is something we should believe in. But now we are reducing all these things that we are doing, and we see there's no difference between doing them so many times or doing them so meticulously and not doing them that many times, or not doing them this meticulous, or not doing them at all at a later point when we decide, okay, now I'm going to reduce it further. Instead of 10, I did 5. Instead of 5, I did 3 times of whatever it is that I was doing. Now I do once or 2 times washing my hands when I come home. That's it. Now I don't change my clothes necessarily because I sat on a bench in the park. And I see nothing bad happen. So I conclude that even if I don't do it, nothing bad happens. So what was it all these times that I was doing these crazy things? I'm convinced that I have to clean this with alcohol. I'm convinced I have to wipe this before I sit on it, and wipe this after I sat on it, and all that. It was all in my thought. It was just a thought, an idea. Because my brain needed a place to find security, and it would find that security in a routine of something, in an order created by doing certain things, and that order was created by me doing these crazy things. And then therefore I was convinced that it's good. I wonder if we once say, I'm going to do all these crazy things because I believe this is going to give me that promotion, give me that job, give me that deal. And if it doesn't happen, then should we not then use the same logic and say, well, it obviously doesn't do a damn thing, let alone me doing it so things will be protected or nothing bad happens to me. It has the same statistics, the same chances of something good happening or something good not happening. So on that note, you convince yourself to wean yourself off of this belief that you have to do these things repetitiously and constantly, every day, every time. For every little thing that you were going to do, you had a certain ritual, and you wean yourself off of it. And if you recognize the stuff that we talked about in these past many videos, there's something else you have to also remember. In many of the videos that we have on this channel, over 1,500 videos at the time and counting, in regards to movement of mind, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, mechanical process, material process, order, pleasure, and all that, and plus many other videos, 1,000 or more videos on relationships, breakups, and why we feel this way, that way, understanding the role of our psyche in all this in our daily life, you will remember that many of these videos talked about emotional files. So all along that you were doing these crazy stuff and OCD stuff that you believed you have to do, there was a certain emotional file attached to it which you experienced through doing it, through the fear of not doing it, the anxiety that you get for not doing it, and the satisfaction that you get when you finish doing the routine of whatever it was that you were doing. Cleaning, washing, quarantining, and whatever you're doing. All these things, crazy things that we what we could do, all of us, one kind or another, at one time or another in our lives, for the reasons of fear, we might have given to it and done these sort of things. And all of them, every single experience and feelings, the emotional feelings that we got from them, by doing it, through doing it, not doing it, fear of not doing it, satisfaction of having completed, it has recorded a certain memory. In our memory was recorded, and with that recording, also the emotions we got from these also were recorded. The anxieties were also recorded. And now we are conditioned to become fearful. If I don't do it, even though you don't have anxiety by not doing it, but you remember that you did have anxiety because you hadn't done it and you were afraid of something or concerned about some consequences of some fictitious things that you had created. If you don't do this, something bad will happen, or something would make you feel uncomfortable. All those emotional feelings are also recorded in your memory. So now, on top of the fact that it's challenging for you to wean yourself over, there are also emotional memories, that emotional files in your memory that are recorded and makes you feel like you have to complete it in order to achieve the same status, calmness, satisfaction that you have now recorded in your memory. You want to feel just as comfortable as you did when you finish your rituals. Or if you don't want to do it, you kind of be triggered by the memory that how I felt when I didn't do it once. So now I'm afraid of not doing it. So these all will discourage you from actually taking action to wean yourself away from all these rituals that you have created and thinking that they actually have any merits or any use or produce something or cause something good for your life. So if you consider all these conditionings that you have done, you can see what you're up against. And every time that you're hesitant to help yourself not to do these silly things, you should remember that it will be okay. It's just a memory of the anxiety that I had for once before that I didn't do this is now causing me to think that if I don't do it, I'll have anxiety. Otherwise, you won't have anxiety because you have logically calculated it and reasoned it, and you're a logical person. You can see it was all bullshit. It was like you were duped by your own mind. And why you believed your mind? Because you somehow don't think it's coming from your mind. You think it's coming from outside your mind, someone or some authority, some higher up intelligence that is watching, observing your thinking and is judging your thinking, and that tells you if you do this, this results will happen, and if you don't do this, these feelings and results may happen or could happen. And you're listening to that, but that what you're listening and thinking that is judging your thoughts is actually your own thoughts. Your own thoughts is judging your thoughts, how you're thinking, and you're believing that what is judging your thoughts is separate than you and your thoughts, therefore you comply. Which of course this is elaborately discussed in a video that I have that's called The Quality of Our Life, Watcher and the Watched, Controller and the Controlled, Observer and the Observed. And in that video, which please do, maybe I'll put the link here or something, please do watch it and you'll understand that it is only your thought that has created a certain fictitious or a judge outside of yourself, the judging your own thoughts by your own thoughts. And you think it's different than your own thoughts. It's some kind of a deity or some kind of an observer outside of you, and you kind of tend to believe it because it's an outside opinion. And we always are counting on somebody's opinion to feel good about ourselves or not, and to feel if we're that worthy or not by someone's affirmation. And this is created by ourselves, but it's outside of us, and we think that entity that is outside of us is judging my thinking is something to follow, which is actually, it's my own thinking judging my own thinking. Just like other things that we have created to believe in, pretty much. Now, if you believe that these are all thoughts, and thoughts are mostly stupid, repetitious, and they're just simply, many of them are not worthy of entertaining, then you're on your way to wean out your OCD and get back the balance and control of your life and be happy and be normal just as you were when you were a kid. And when you were a kid, you didn't have to do any of these rituals and nonsense in order to feel good or to feel secure or to feel nothing bad will happen. But when somehow something triggered and some worry in you and wanting to protect something, whether your parents or a good life that you had and you were happy about it, you started these sort of buying into these superstitious stuff and turned into OCD, you elaborated on it and piled on it, and it became such a horrendous thing in a short time. And perhaps something that you were concerned about sometime for some reason caused it to start, and you created and turned it into a conditioning by keep doing it, and the synaptic neurons constantly created bridges between you for this behavior, like playing piano, constantly practicing it, becoming really good in playing piano, and this behavior became something that you kept doing it and you conditioned yourself and became really good at it, and now you have to learn how to unlearn it. And by keep reducing it, as I mentioned, by keep defying it and logically proving to yourself that you don't need to do it and not end up doing all these things, even little by little, reducing it every day and proving to yourself that nothing really gonna happen, you will be unlearning what you have conditioned yourself to do, which would be explained to a video that I have that is called How to Delete Your Memory. And by unlearning it, you're actually destroying the bridges between the synaptic neurons that have made it possible for you to become good at something, and you become not so good at it after a while not doing it. Just like when you don't play piano for a while, you'll forget it. That's unlearning, like anything else. And this you can also unlearn by logically what we've explained and discussed on these many videos, and also by reducing the number of things that you do in your ritual and recognizing that it's all a thought and a nonsense and has no value or support scientifically, medically, or otherwise. It's just waste of time. And by that, you convince yourself to do less and less of it, and you wean yourself off of it, because at the same time, you're unlearning all those connections you had created within the synaptic neurons, and it will also help you not to have this automatic default of conditioning of impulsive doing it. And so eventually it will stop being a belief. Once it stops being a belief, the domino is falling. The tower is falling. It's not a belief anymore, so it's not a sin. It's not a sacrilege. I cannot do it. And because I see that it's not doing anything good for me and nothing bad is happening to me if I don't do them, whatever it is that you do, the ritual, you will reduce doing it further and further. And eventually you come to the point that is very close to normal and you don't have to do any of that shit that you've been bound to do every day, every time you wanted to do something. So, on that note, I think some of these would be able to help you to make the life a little bit more balanced for yourself, make it a little bit easier for yourself, and to start enjoying your life again, just like when you didn't have this habit, didn't have this conditioning that you created by your own thoughts. And little by little, you begin to feel, I have so much more time in the day, I can do things that I want to do and not to be worried about it, because I believe in the logic of things and I'm training my mind by teaching it where it can find an order to relax, and it doesn't have to look for weird things that I do and use them as a routine and turn that into an order and then find its security in that routine of doing things, even though they're so annoying and unproductive. And bit by bit, you will see the light and you become the old you that you were, and happy and strong on your way to bigger and better things. Hope these series of videos have been helpful to you in order to combat, stop, and reverse your OCD, at least to the point that will give you the freedom that you're looking for and bring smile to your face, relaxation and happiness, and a balanced life. Talk to you soon.